Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Behind the Reel. We've got season number 2, episode 15. We are here with the winner from the All-American Kayak Classic, Mr. Cole Sikes out of Arkansas. We're going to be sitting down, chatting with him about the event, and we're going to kind of get into what it took to take away a $10,000 check right here. Somewhat in his own neck of the woods, and there's not very many opportunity for anglers in the Midwest to come away with a check like that outside of the occasional, like Hobie BOS or one of the Bassmaster events, something like that. One of those bigger national trails. They'll come through every now and then, and you'll have an opportunity at a big check. But this is something a little bit different. This is something that I really do want to promote. I want to make sure that people out there in this region in particular know about this opportunity, and that is the All-American Kayak Series. So we've had people on here before to talk about winning these events, but this is the big one. This is really what it all comes down to. So you have an opportunity in fishing that series to earn an invite to this event. So we can kind of talk to Cole about how he was even how he earned that opportunity, how he earned that invitation, and then also, more importantly, how he was able to come away with that 2-day that 2-day win here. So I do want to also mention that we've got this going on over on Facebook tonight. Normally, we're just doing it on YouTube. So if you notice that your questions aren't being answered or anything like that, you may work your way on over to YouTube, and we'll be able to see your questions and comments. We got our buddy Derek over there, Mr. Organic, telling us hi. Appreciate you tuning in with us tonight. And also, before we get tonight's episode kicked off, I want to let you guys all know about an opportunity to fish world famous El Dorado Lake this weekend in El Dorado, Kansas, with the Kansas Kayak Anglers. We are looking forward to having our second event of the year. And second event, I believe. I don't know. I may be a little bit behind. But this is going to be a good one right during the middle or the beginning of the spawn. We're going to see a lot of big fish caught, I feel like. And somebody's going to walk away with the win. So Organic is talking about the trophy. So maybe Cole will show that off here a little bit tonight. But guys, I do want to remind you, if you want to kind of if you have any questions or anything, if you want to contribute to the conversation at all, make sure you put those comments over there in the live comment section feed, and we will keep an eye on that, and we will work those into our conversation tonight. Also, share this video with a local group, with some local friends that may have similar interests as you. We're going to try to not only grow this channel, but again, make sure people are aware of the opportunities that they have to fish these type of events. So we just hit 2,500 subscribers the beginning of this week, I believe. We're going to be on 2,600 here before too long. So we're going to do a giveaway. I'm waiting on some stuff to come in. We're going to do a big giveaway, but it's going to be a big one. And if you guys want to be entered into that giveaway, you can go get some Behind the Reel merch, and I'll put that Shopify link in the description here. But you can go get you a hat or a shirt, and then we've got some more stuff coming. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this show kicked off tonight, and we will get to your questions just as quickly as we can. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on. What's up, Cole?
Hey, John, how's it going, man?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. Just got off work. Now I'm here. It's a little more exciting than regular work. So
there you go. Heck yeah. All right. Well, maybe for the folks that don't know about you, if you want to maybe just give them kind of a brief introduction of yourself, and then just kind of how you got into this whole kayak fishing thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Cole Sikes from Bentonville, Arkansas. Outside of fishing, I'm a user experience designer for JB Hunt. We're a logistics company, so design software and all that. But
nice.
As far as fishing goes, so getting into kayak fishing, I always grew up, wade fishing on the rivers here in the Ozarks with my dad and uncles and brothers. And occasionally we do some float trips, usually with canoes and all that. But really, how I got into kayak fishing and kayak tournament fishing was my wife. Actually, she wanted some kayaks, and so we went down to the local kayak shop here, so Ozark Mountain Trading Company, and we both got us some paddle kayaks. And I was already doing some bass boat tournaments with my dad, and then I stumbled across on Facebook the Natural State Kayak Anglers Facebook group, and so started following along for about a year, just kind of watched them from afar, and then I eventually just like, I'm going to give that a try. So I went out for my first tournament and just started competing then. And just like any kind of rookie, their first kayak tournament, obviously I made a lot of mistakes, taking improper photos and all of that. But it was a great learning experience, and I'm glad I jumped in and started dabbling in it. So.
Heck yeah! So the wife actually got you into it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does she regret that?
That's
Maybe
what I'm
not
about
now.
to ask. I don't know. She may.
I mean, she probably did up until she found out that she won 10 grand.
Yeah.
That
She
was.
was. Yeah.
She's like, "Yay, we're finally even."
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We paid for those kayaks easily there. So, no, anytime you bring home money, she's a little happier for sure.
Heck yeah. So TZ says you've been taking their money ever since.
I don't think that's true. Tyler, he's been on a wreck lately and taking everyone else's money. He's currently leading Angler of the Year in our club. He was one of our 5 in that club championship that finished out with us. So he helped us get that big trophy as well.
Yeah, tell us about that a little bit. That's a really cool deal where you have the opportunity to represent your home club and just tell us maybe about that and what that kind of meant to you and the guys back home.
Yeah, just to give the viewers a little kind of background of how that works. So at the All-American, there's all the affiliated clubs can come up and compete for a actual club trophy. And so what they do is they take the top 5 cumulative totals of each angler of a club and see who has the highest. And so for us, it came down to the Natural State Kayak Anglers and Moyak. And last year, Moyak was the team that took home the W. And so it came down to us two. Again, we got second last year. So it's nice to get revenge on them and take home the win this year. So, we had some good anglers with us.
Moyak is a tough crew, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got a whole bunch of talent over there. I would say it's their home waters. It's in Missouri. They fish it on, at least once a year. The whole time we go there is for the All-American, but it sets up similar to some of the lakes around us, so we're pretty comfortable fishing that area. Also, like with Fish Beaver Lake, it's a pretty tough lake, and I think that helps us prepare for some of those more. I wouldn't say Truman's like a super difficult lake, but it just prepares you for just all lakes in general, just because like you're used to only getting a couple bites a day. So when you go to other lakes, it's like, oh, this almost feels simple.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I've heard that lake can be pretty tough. Is that like, sometimes I feel like a lot of anglers or a lot of areas that have tough fisheries breed really consistent anglers. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I could see that. The lakes that are kind of difficult, you got to really just kind of learn how to put your head down and just grind. I think it helps you from the mental aspect of, just not going out there and expecting just to wear them out. You have to really work on it, really try to figure out, maybe a pattern or a pattern within a pattern. And so I really do think that does help you when you do kind of branch out. And I think it makes you a better fisherman in the long run.
Sure. Yeah. Heck yeah. Let's see. I've got, we'll get into more of the All-American stuff here, but I think this is kind of a cool little icebreaker we've done once before. It's called This or That. I don't have a way to put the graphic up on the screen right now, but that actually might make it a little more interesting. So I'm going to give you two options here, and then you tell me which one you would choose, and then we can kind of elaborate on why and kind of go into, a little bit of specifics there. But okay, so first one is going to be Texas rig versus the jig. Which one's going to be your go-to?
So the people probably watching this from my local club probably laughing because all I used to throw is a jig. In fact, there's a jig named after me for a specific color. It's called the Sikes Special.
Nice.
So I'm 100% throwing a jig. It's nothing fancy. Slow Town Custom Lures, which is a local lure company. They're the one that
shout
makes
them out.
Yep, exactly. So it's just your typical watermelon candy and some purple in it. But yeah, I'm 100% throwing a jig all day.
Okay, jigs all day. Shaky head or drop shot?
Well,
is that another no-brainer?
No, that was kind of funny in my opinion. I would have to go shaky head. I'm not much of a spinning rod guy for fishing a lake that is difficult. And typically people are like, oh, I'm gonna go finesse. I still go power fishing, throw a jig, throw a spinner bait, and all that. But if I had to choose between those, I would definitely go with the shaky head. I own like one spinning rod. I took it with me down to the All American. It stayed in my room. So
nice. Heck yeah, that's what I like to hear. My kind of guy. and then so you don't even really like. You probably don't even know what shaky head you're throwing. Like you don't have a favorite worm. I mean,
no, I have no idea.
Just like
I know Tyler, the other guy that was over here, he'll be throwing like a burner worm or something like that. He's really good with them, but
okay, not your thing. I feel that. Jerk bait or swim bait, like a paddle tail, I guess.
Yeah, I've won some pretty good money with the jerk bait, so I'm gonna have to go with that. So
okay, what's the go-to?
I throw the Mega Bass 110 plus one typically.
Okay,
it's pretty good over here in these Ozark lakes. So especially, I don't have live scope on my kayak, but on a bass boat, man, it sure is fun to do.
Okay, so now that you bring that up, is that like is that on the wish list? Is that something you're gonna use your earnings to go get now, or
right? If I were to upgrade anything on my kayak right now, I would get a motor.
Okay.
I feel like for kayak fishing, that would help me more so than live scope. I love live scope. I really like it for fishing like offshore brush piles and that type of stuff. But for now, I'm going to pass on live scope for the kayak. I would get a motor if I did buy anything.
Okay, fair enough. What are you running, Garmin now then, or?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I have a Garmin now.
Okay. Okay, so shallow or deep?
Shallow. Yep. I mean, I can do both. Just depending on the conditions, I can mix it up. I think coming from having a little bass boat history, I'm not scared to go offshore. I know a lot of kayak anglers aren't as well, but it just gives me confidence to know what I'm looking for when I'm out there. But I prefer to fish shallow, especially in a kayak. You can get up in some of that dirt or like that shallow water, some unpressured fish and so forth.
I like it. We might already know the answer to this one. Green pumpkin or watermelon red?
That's so I use both. I actually use like green pumpkin as my like jig color, but a lot of times I'll use like a watermelon red trailer on it, so it just kind of combines it. But I'm gonna go green pumpkin.
Green pumpkin, okay. Yeah. Just a little more versatile, I suppose.
Yeah.
Vibrating jig or are you going spinner bait?
Spinner bait, 100%. Yeah. I haven't really got into the whole vibrating jig piece. These Ozark lakes, spinner bait's hard to beat still as well. So, 100% spinner bait.
Are you what spinner bait are you throwing this time of year?
Yeah, War Eagle. I throw just like the double willow.
Okay.
It's my go-to. I throw basically one all year, and I've won a lot of money with it.
Heck yeah! You never throw like a Colorado or anything?
If the water's really dirty or early in the year, the water's 50 or less in temperature, I'll throw it. But for the most part, once it gets above 55 or so, I'll probably throw in a War Eagle double willow.
Nice. Okay. And clear water or dirty water?
I would prefer dirty water. I can do both. Yeah.
Do you have much of that in your area? Are you fishing a lot of
So
clean stuff?
the really neat thing about Beaver Lake is it is very diverse from like a watercolor standpoint. So if you go up to the dam area, it's like 20 foot of visibility. But if you're up in the rivers, it can get like when it's stable and it's kind of normal, it's like 1 foot of visibility, which I mean it's pretty clear in some places, but it can get down to 6 inches of visibility. That's where I prefer to be in that stained water. But that's the neat thing about Beaver. You can kind of just pick and choose based off of your liking where you want to fish. So as far as the other local lakes, there's some that are dirty. For the most part, they've got some cleanness to them.
I think Levi's telling you should pick up a chatterbait.
Yeah, he got a big one on Beaver.
That's got to be a real. I mean, that's a big fish anywhere you go. But like, does Beaver have a lot of big fish like that?
So 21 and a quarter, that's definitely a big fish. But Beaver has some pretty good quality. The thing about Beaver is you'll catch maybe like one good one and then lots of rats. So like finding that between like 16 inches and to like your 19 inches, those are kind of hard to find. I wouldn't say like catching a 20 is common, but there's more of them in Beaver Lake than you would think. So, but there's like a lot of little rats in there.
Is there? Well, yeah. I mean, and you hear people talk about Beaver Lake, and it doesn't have, a great reputation for being, a great fishery. It's kind of always been known as one of those grinder tournaments, and the elite guys are there and stuff. So you were telling me earlier before we went live, you'll have like 60 or 70 guys at an event. So what does it normally take to win big bass at one of those where you have that many boats on the water?
Yeah, it'll definitely take
somewhere around there.
Yeah, 21 inches. So yeah, 21 will probably win it about every time. Occasionally you'll have like a 20 and a half that'll win it, but we've probably had a 22 before, a couple 22s maybe, but that's pretty rare. But yeah, usually that 20, 21 range.
Okay, nice. Now, if you had to choose one, are you going for 1 10-pounder, or now just take the tournament equation out of it, okay? But you're out there on the water, just doing your own thing, fun fishing, 10-pounder, or are you going for a 30-pound limit? Which I guess a 30-pound limit is pretty insane too.
Yeah, I was say that's pretty.
That's like what, six pound
average. Yeah,
so
it's pretty good.
I mean, but or do you want, or and I guess really this maybe will work itself into like a swim bait question. Do you ever throw big swim baits, or are you targeting that one big fish? Is that ever your?
No, I haven't really done that. I'm starting to actually play around with the idea of maybe getting a Chad shed or something, and just trying to learn how to do it. But no.
Come on, KGB. We know some people around there. Hook this guy up.
Right.
He's got some money.
I would say I think I'll go with the 10-pounder. Just because I haven't caught a double digit before. I think that'd be neat. But yeah, if it was tournament day, I'd take that 30 pounds. But like I said, that wasn't part of the question.
It looks like Josh is on here saying stripers eat all the bass on Beaver.
That's the rumor. That's why Table Rock's better. There's fewer stripers. The only way they get over there is if they somehow escape the dam area, apparently. So that's the rumor. And I mean, it may be true. I don't know.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think speaking of KGB, I think they sneak over to Table Rock every now and then and catch a few.
Those guys catch some good ones over there with it.
Okay, well that's kind of a little icebreaker there. Just kind of, for people to understand maybe a little bit more about your style of fishing, and kind of a cool little deal that I found on Facebook. It was just a graphic that somebody was sharing around. So kind of a cool deal. Now, how did you earn that invitation to fish that classic?
Yeah. So to give people background as well for how they invite people to it. So they take the top 10 anglers of each club from Angler of the Year standings from the previous year. And then they also give it to a sportsmanship award So each club can send a sportsmanship winner, and then also they have 2 director spots. And so last year I actually didn't fish enough to qualify through Angler of the Year. I was actually pretty close, but I didn't fish enough events. I fished, I think, like 5 events and had, I think about 5 that are close to top 5 finishes. Just didn't qualify that way, but I qualified as a director. I'm on the board here at Natural State Kayak Anglers, and all the other board members qualified through being a Angler of the Year qualifier. So I was able to qualify as being a director, as one of our directors, and so that's actually how I got to do it. So.
Okay, there we go. I muted myself because my dog is in the backyard barking, and I was trying to, and then I had a brain fart and I couldn't figure out how to unmute it. Anyways, yeah. I'm a newbie at this. This is only like episode 80, and I just completely, first time for everything. But that's pretty wild, man. That's pretty wild that you got a director spot and just ran away with the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really neat that they do that. Especially for the directors, just because a lot of times they're so busy with getting all the schedules out, get everything. Just there's a lot of logistics involved. So Josh and Tyler and them for allowing them to send a director down to fish in it. That's just a really neat idea that they do. So
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, and you're holding it down for all the directors. So if I get a director spot next year, people are going to be a little bit more on edge. They're gonna be like, man, we need to watch out for those
directors. Yeah. So,
and those sportsman guys too. Those,
yeah,
we're sleepers.
Exactly.
But okay, so that's awesome. So, what about this year? Are you gonna fish enough? Do you think? Like, what's in the works for the local series? There, are you gonna be able to?
No, most likely I'll probably have to claim a director spot if. That's only if the other directors, finish high enough. So, like I mentioned before we hopped on,
did you get a spot for winning the whole thing?
I don't.
That should be a thing. Part of
it. I'll ask Josh.
Come on, Josh. Come on, man. He won the whole thing.
Yeah, free invite for life. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think I need to start fishing like probably the remainder of the schedule to have a chance to qualify as a Angler of the Year. Like I said, most likely it'll have to be just kind of roll downs, or like I said, if the other directors, if they qualify, then I'll have a chance potentially. But if not, I'll let one of them have it. But yeah,
champions get an invite.
There we go.
You're in, baby.
I'm in. That was easy. Did he say for life or not?
I don't think he's. I don't think so. I don't think you get it for life, but. I just want to touch on the fact that every single, you said what, you have 5 or 6 directors?
Yeah. Yep.
And all of them earned a spot through AOI.
Yeah.
Like you guys got some stacked.
Yeah. We have a lot of really good anglers. Not like just on our board, just in our whole club in general.
Yeah.
I think we could send us in a whole bunch of different national trails and make a name for us. We don't really get out as often as some, the other national guys, but we do have some guys that have done really well in some of the BOS tournaments. So Justin Brewer, Dwayne Beatty. So those guys have both finished really high. I believe Justin got second and won. Dwayne's done really good on some of the KBF ones as well. So we definitely have some sticks in our club, as well as in our directors as well. So
that's awesome. Heck yeah. Yep. Shout out to the Natural State Kayak Anglers, holding it down. Okay, so let's see here. I've got our tournament standing. So let's just get into like going into practice. What did practice look like for you? What kind of thoughts did you have going into this event? How did some of that stuff shake out? What did you learn during practice? And then we can kind of get into the actual game day.
Yeah. So I was on Truman for the previous year's classic. And so I was able to that was my first time there. I was able to get a rough understanding of kind of how the light laid out, what to expect. And so I was able to take that knowledge before this tournament and really kind of do some map studying, kind of narrow down some areas that I really want to focus on. So going into practice, there's one area I just kind of had to get it off my mind. Like, it was one of those things. It's like, man, that looks really good. It fits my style. I want to go up there just to check it real quick. And so I went up to the north end, went way back in some of the creek arms up there, and I caught them pretty good. Had low 80s, had one good kicker, but I felt like it wasn't gonna be a big enough area for me to fish it 2 days, and so also while map studying, there's one area of the lake that I really wanted to focus on, and there's a little piece closer to the dam that really caught my eye for this time of year. Going into the tournament, I really expected it to be the fish to kind of be in all phases of the spawn.
Yeah.
And then once I got there, they're way further behind than I was expecting. Like on beaver, they've already kind of spawned out and everything. But they were still kind of like in their just staging areas, so their pre-spawn areas. But one of the areas I wanted to check was more of your typical spawning areas. So it was a big main lake flat with lots of spawning pockets and points. And so I really focused on that. And I went there for the second day of pre-fishing, and kind of, mid 80s, and felt pretty good about it. I was pretty confident that I would have it, a lot more of it to myself. I mean, there's 200 anglers, so it's a big lake, but people still kind of fish on top of each other. But I felt more confident in having a lot more room in that area than being way up in the creeks. As you know, the kayak guys like to get up in all the narrow waters, and it actually can get busy in those spots. So
yes. Okay, and then so like this going into day one. Let's see. I'm trying to get my computer to load here. Going into day one, where'd you start out there then?
Yeah, so based off the pre-fishing, I felt like it was kind of taking a gamble. I went to my second spot, so where I pre-fished second day. So it was more closer to the dam. And the reason why I say it was more of a gamble, the conditions didn't set up as well for it. So day one, it was sunny. There was zero wind. Like when I say zero wind, like at 1 o'clock, I was crossing the main lake and there was not a ripple. And that time of day, there's typically a little bit of breeze. And so my concern was it was going to be too calm in that area because it's the clearest water. I mean, it's not super clear. It's like 2 foot of visibility. But that was my concern. But I was able to kind of go a little bit more finesse that day and catch them on a fluke, kind of on your secondary points, leading into some of the spawning pockets, and did just good enough to be in contention to win it. Wasn't too far out of it, but I just never really could get just one of those kicker fish either. I just had basically a limit of 16s and 17s. So
yeah. So day one, where were you at in standings at the end of day one?
Yeah, I was in 11th place.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe I was 5.5 inches behind the leader. And so, like I said, there's the leads were tight, or the weights were real tight.
Yeah.
I keep saying weights, excuse me. The links were real tight.
Sure.
I believe like all the way down to like 35th or 40th or so was 80 inches. So,
yeah.
It was just a lot of those 78 to 81 inches. So just getting one, more 18 incher or whatever kind of really jumped an angler up. So.
Heck yeah. So what did you think about that? Like, did you feel like, man, I've got potential, or, where was your head at?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really think a whole lot about it. I just kind of went fishing. Like, I didn't really even think about winning. So the previous year, I was actually in the lead after day one. And I put a lot of pressure on myself on that one. And this one, I feel like I had enough fish in the area. It's just my concern was quality. Like in pre-fishing, I caught like an 18 and some 17s. But I couldn't ever find just like one of those kickers in my area. And even on day one, I couldn't do the same. So I just, to be honest, like day two, I didn't really worry about anything. I just kind of went fishing. That probably helped me, to be honest. So.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
He said, "How are you?"
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
All right, go back inside, sis.
Whoa.
But okay, so you just kind of went fishing. So you were, what'd you say, you were in the lead, or you were in, what'd you say on last
Yes.
year?
Yeah. So in the last classic, I was tied for first after day one. I had like
First time ever fishing there.
first time that one. So that one I wasn't expecting to do as well on day two. I actually found like people always give me a hard time because I always find like that one magical tree, and that's what happened again. I found one laydown in this huge big bay area, and surprisingly, it kept reloading with fish. And so I had to really manage that one. And basically, every hour or two, I'd come by, catch another 16 between 16 and 18 inches, and move on and let it rest for a while. Come back and do the same thing. I just didn't think it would keep reloading, um, and it did, but because I didn't think it would keep reloading, I didn't check it as often, and so I kind of wasted a lot of time going and trying other things. I even started my mornings in a whole different area of the lake, and I would load my kayak up and go hit my magical tree. But yeah, so yeah, that one I just didn't think I would be able to make a good run on day two. Whereas this past one, I was able to fish more of areas rather than just like one single target. So I felt a little more confident to be able to make a good run on day two at least.
So did you go back to some of the same areas on day two? What did you do for that?
Yeah, so day two I went to the same place as I did on day one. I don't like fishing in crowds, and I had it all to myself. I caught tons of fish on day one with the fluke. I caught at least 50 fish. So I didn't pick that up till 10 a.m. on day one.
Wow.
And so I started the day off with that and caught 3 good ones real quick with it. And it just kind of set up my day to be successful. But on day two, it was a lot windier. So I could really only use those flukes in the kind of like those protected pockets. But once the wind was up and running, I had to switch over to the spinner bait, and I just covered a lot of water and caught my fish that way.
And so you had a much better day two, but you were fishing in the same area. So
yeah,
same bait.
Yeah. So
cool.
in the morning, I used the fluke, and then later in the day, I'd switch the spinner bait. There was an area like on day one, I thought about going back and hitting, but I did decide to let it rest just in case for day two. I don't know if it really helped me. I caught 17 on there late in the day, but it wasn't as good of an area as I thought it'd be. But yeah, like I said, the 2 days are completely different from a condition standpoint. The first day was sunny and calm. The second day was cloudy and windy. Later in the day, the sun popped out, but it was pretty drastic. And overall, from what I gathered from the other anglers, day two was a big difference from day one in how people were catching them. So I think that was like the first day they really kind of moved from those secondary points to the very backs of the pockets. And luckily, I was able to figure that out real quick in the morning.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, there's just I'm scrolling down here, and I mean, yeah, as far as, I mean, you've got high 70s for both days, clear into the 30s, 40s. I mean, it's, and what, 200 was there, right at 200 anglers?
196. Yep.
That's wild. 196 anglers. Yeah. And so yeah, that lake definitely has some potential. They may I wondered why they picked that place, but they're going back there every year, and I think last year they had some pretty good results too, didn't they?
Yeah. Last year was actually a little more difficult. It was in the fall, so this is the first year they've done it in the spring. And so, well, excuse me, when I say last year, the last classic was in the fall.
Yep.
They had a qualifying event. I don't remember when that was and what that took. I'm pretty sure it took quite a bit for that one. I believe low 90s. But in the November or the fall event, on day one, like I said, I was leading. I had, I think, 81 inches maybe, so it wasn't taking as much. But on day 2, Brian Hillman, he smashed them, caught low 90s, and jumped everybody on that. But for the most part, that fall bite was way more difficult than the springtime bite that we had this year.
Yeah. Yeah, looked like you guys caught him right in time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that lake, man, there's so much fish in that lake. It's really known as a crappie lake, from what I can gather. I mean, there's so many crappie fishermen out there.
Was there?
There's standing timber everywhere, so it's like just paradise for crappie. I joined a couple of the Facebook groups, like fishing reports. It's just straight crappie. That's all it is. Crappie and spoonbill. So you don't really see a whole lot of people talk about bass fishing, but it's a good bass fishing lake.
I would say so. I mean, you look at all these fish. You got a 20 and 3/4, 18 and a half. You got a 19, 18 and 3/4, 21, 20. I mean, yeah, you had to beat out some hammers in this deal.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of these. I think I just saw it earlier. I think was it Sam Young that took away Big Bass? Or he got beat out by somebody on a 21, didn't he?
Yeah. What's his name? If you go to day 2, I can tell you who it is. Ryan Wells. Yeah, he
21.
He ended up winning Big Bass. He caught 21 and 20 on the same day. So
that's a big head bass right there. Yeah, that thing was going through it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See that tail?
Yep. Yeah, he found the right area. So they're moving up.
That's wild. So are you gonna go back, do you think, before the next one, or like do you have any
I would like to go
desire
there.
just go fish for fun?
Yeah, I would like to go just kind of learn a little bit. I mean, it's a huge lake, and I feel like I've only kind of scratched the surface at it. There's 4 different, I think, river arms that come into it, and I've really kind of focused on the main. I'm called the main lake, closer to the dam area, for the most part. But I like to kind of get up in some of those rivers at times. So I wouldn't mind to go up there and just kind of get my eyes more on the lake and try to get more familiar with it. Try to find some areas that could be good in the future as well. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, it seems like you could probably go anywhere in that lake and do pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you in? What kind of boat are you in? You're in a Hobie Pro Angler?
Yeah, Hobie Pro Angler 180. I believe that's like a 2019 model. So
nice.
Yep.
What? How do you have that thing rigged out? That's a common question on here.
Standard.
Pretty.
Yeah, basically out of the box. I have a Garmin 93 SV Echo Map on it. To be honest, that's about the only little accessory I really have on it. Keep it kind of simple. Just go fishing.
What did you say? What kind of graph?
Garmin Echo Map 93 SV.
93?
Yeah. So.
And do you use all the features of that thing? Are you big on like scanning around on your side imaging, or what?
I'll do that sometimes while pre-fishing. I don't like to do it while I'm actually fishing, or like a tournament day. I wouldn't say I'm like an expert at it. I can mark some brush piles and stuff like that and hit them later. I really wish I had live scope for doing some of that so that I can be really accurate with my cast for when I do find some of those offshore brush piles and all that. But for the most part, I keep it pretty simple, use it for the basic features, some of the mapping, but I really want to know water depth, water temperature.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Yeah. Pretty simple.
Yep.
Yeah. A spot lock, or are you going to get something to put on like a Torqeedo?
Yeah, I lean more towards like a Torqeedo type approach. It'd fit my style of fishing. So I like to cover a lot of water. And I'm not the type to just kind of like just go straight down a bank and fish it. Like I'm going to go bounce around and hit as many high percentage spots as possible. I may stop and hit, another high percentage spot, like an isolated target. But for the most part, I'm running and gunning, and I would use it just to get more quickly to the next spot.
So. Okay. Yeah. That seems to be a pretty popular option. I mean, I think for just into that next area quicker, and maybe fits your bass boat style of fishing a little, kind of incorporate that into the kayak aspect a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. You cut out a little bit, but I'll kind of touch on a little bit what you alluded to from my bass boat experience.
Yeah.
I kind of take a lot of that same mindset when I come to kayak fishing. Like I said, I'm really kind of bouncing around. Oftentimes, I feel like I see anglers fishing an area that I wouldn't consider high percentage, and just kind of, in my opinion, they're probably wasting their time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they'll be better off pedaling 15 minutes to a high percentage spot to fish rather than spending 15 minutes down a bank that you might get lucky and catch one. But for me, I'm kind of running and gunning with my pedals. It's a lot of work. I covered each day I probably covered 13, 14 miles
Wow.
my pedals. So I'm moving.
See those calves.
Yeah, I do have some calves, but I'm ready to get a motor too, though. Get a little old.
Heck yeah. So, okay. So tell me about that. Like, when you see somebody that is fishing one of those, like what you would consider not a high percentage area, or, what would you consider a high percentage area? What are you looking for? I guess maybe this time of year.
Yeah.
On your map
this time of year, with it around the spawn. Obviously, I'm kind of going to try to focus on those spawning areas and finding where are they staging at, where are they spawning, and all that. But really, kind of what I was alluding to earlier is like, yeah, you can catch good fish, just kind of going down bluff lines and stuff. But like, I'm gonna be focused on the bluff ends, or if there's like a small depression in the bluff wall itself, I would hit that. Or like a lot of people, one of my favorite things to fish are like flats. If I can find me an isolated target on the flat, I mean, there might only be one, but you can almost guarantee you're going to catch one on there. A lot of times it's a big one. A lot of guys don't even like want to waste their time going over there and fishing like the flats. They're going to go on that steeper stuff. But yeah, like I said, a lot of times I'll just see people just kind of going, just working the way really slowly down a bluff line. And for me, I'm moving. I'm going to the very end of that bluff and hitting that next bluff in. Then I'll hop over, hit the other next channel swing, hit that bluff in, hit the flats in between. So that's just my opinion. You can't win it that way. I'm not saying you can't do it that, but for my personal preference and style of fishing, I'd rather be bouncing around.
Okay. And then I think you even mentioned loading up and launching from different areas. Is that something you did at this event?
So for this tournament, I didn't. The previous year, I did. I do it pretty often, actually, in our local series as well. If I'm not feeling it, or if I have a feeling that maybe an afternoon bite could be better, I'll load up and move. I'm not afraid to do that. So it sometimes is a gamble, but I feel like a lot of times it pays off for me.
Yeah. Is that something you see a lot of other guys doing?
I would say a handful of guys do it. I don't know. Sometimes they may be doing it because they're struggling or something, but yeah, I know a handful of guys that definitely do it. So
yeah, it's not it. You don't see it a whole lot. We've got a couple guys that'll do it. In our events locally, and maybe a little bit more common at those bigger national events that are on bigger bodies of water.
Yeah.
I don't know, but a lot of those guys have torpedoes and stuff, so maybe not quite as necessary. Do you think you'll do that when you get to torpedo still? Do you think that's
right? Yeah, that's one of the things I'm kind of contemplating if I do go that route is like, it'd be just probably at least one more trip to the truck, when you're kind of loading up your stuff. So that's a downside. Like, I know that may not sound like much, but it takes a lot of effort to load your kayak up and move again. So just a little more extra weight with the battery and the motor. So
yeah, when you do load up, so that might keep you from wanting to go.
Exactly. But you could get to your spot quicker too, though, when you have that. So
yeah.
There's kind of some pros and cons. So
more effort, but maybe less time, I guess,
Yep,
maybe.
exactly. So,
But yeah, I mean, on those, in the middle of July, it's hot, you're tired, you may not want to mess with that extra, that extra weight. Are you do you have a trailer? Or are you just throwing it in the back of your pickup or?
just throw on the back the pickup, and I prefer that way because your trailer, if you trailer, you're kind of limiting yourself where you can fish. So some of the launches, some of the public launches around here may be pretty narrow, dirt roads and stuff. So be able to turn around a trailer in a small area could be difficult. So by throwing in the truck bed allows you to go to a lot more options, I guess, to fish. So that's just another personal opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you put that big old motor on there, which I don't know, maybe they're easy to like detach and I don't know, I'm not sure, but yeah, I know that I had a motor guide on the front of mine, and that was a big like, it's not on there right now. I still have it, but like putting that thing in the back of the pickup with that trolling motor up front, man, that was a beast.
Yeah. I would definitely go with like either the Torpedo or the Newport. I feel like it's probably a little lighter, and also, like I said, having it in the back of the boat will fit my style of fishing a lot better than having the front with spot lock and all that.
So what did so where you were at, was the water a little bit clearer down there?
Yep, the water was a little clearer, definitely cooler as well. So I mean, it was probably like 58, 59 for the most part in the entire tournament where I was at. Up in the rivers, it was definitely in the low 60s. I think that was another thing that kind of probably turned people away from where I was at. A lot of people are probably really wanting to be in that warmer water. So I don't know if that's true or not, but like I said, I didn't have hardly any company where I was at, and it was nice.
Maybe trying to target the fish that were more in that spawn.
Yeah.
Now, what were your fish doing?
I think they're just starting to move up. I had that night, the 18 3/4. It had just starting to have a little bloody tail on it. And so if you went to day 2, you'll be able to see that one. But it for all the other ones, they didn't really have kind of your spawning type features on it. So yeah, so the next fish would have it, the 1875.
Yep.
You see a little bit on the bottom part of the tail, but yeah, for the most part, I think they're just kind of starting to move in. That fish actually, when I caught that fish, I had a feeling there could go my way. That was first thing in the morning. I threw my fluke over, shallow water, and like super shallow water. It came up and swirled on it. I set the hook and missed. Threw over there, exact same thing, swirl, miss. Third time, exact same thing. On the fourth cast, I let it have it for like 3 seconds for setting the hook.
Yeah.
Got it in. And it was like, man, it's got to be my day. Like, you usually don't get that many options or that many chances.
Yeah.
So the fact it took me 4 chances to catch that guy, and that also, I think, is a sign that he was probably up there doing his business too. He wasn't running off from that area. So
now, was that the male?
I think that was probably I want to say it was a female, but that's a pretty good male if it was a male.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if that was the male, then heck yeah. Did you say that one was on the fluke?
Yep.
Okay.
So that one I caught, and right before that, probably like 10 minutes before that, I caught another 18 on a fluke. And then I went the next pocket over, because that's when I found out they were actually in the back. So like I said, the very first day you're catching them kind of your points. Day 2 was when they finally like moved to the back of the pockets. And it was the first time the back of the pockets first thing in the morning was warmer than the mouth of the pocket, which is kind of crazy. And I think that's why those fish were back there, because I actually wasn't going to go back and fish those pockets. I was going to go to another spot where I caught them pretty good on day 1. But at the very end of day 1, I caught a 17 1/4 in back one of those pockets. Like, I'm just going to hit that real fast. It won't take long. It's a high percentage spot. And I caught an 18. I was like, all right, I got to go hit the other side. And then I got the 18 3/4. And also realized the water's warmer. So I was like, all right, I'm going to fish a couple more of these back of these pockets. And it paid off. I had a really quick, good start to the morning because of that.
Nice. Yeah. So just one of those things where you got to use the information that you're given, and sometimes we ignore those little tidbits of information that we get on the water, and we're stubborn. And so, yeah, I mean, when you talk to guys that are winning events, they're kind of tuned in with what's going on. And so when you caught that 18, you thought to yourself, like, this could be the day.
Yeah. Yeah. When I caught that 18 3/4, so I already had an 18 with me. Caught that 18 3/4. And so I was like, all right, those two fish alone are bigger than anything I caught the previous day.
Yeah.
And like I said, going into day two, I was concerned that there's no like good quality. Like there's above average fish in there, but like where
16s.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of 16, 17s, but I caught an 18 and 18 3/4. And like 15 minutes later, I caught 17 and a half, which is also bigger than anything I caught day one. So I was like,
yep.
All right, this might be my day.
So did that make you want to hunker down or just find more places like that?
I really wanted to find more places like that, but to be honest, the bite kind of died after that for me. All my other areas were close by, like that I caught on day one, so I was able to check those out. And to be honest, I went on a dry spell for probably 3-4 hours where I didn't like catch any upgrades. I had like I said, at one point I had 1875, 18, 17 and a half, and some 15s. But I can see I caught a 19-incher, and that was at like 1240 roughly.
Okay.
And that was one of those, like I mentioned earlier, when I'm bouncing between spots, if I come across an isolated target, I'm going to fish it. And there's this one stump on a windblown flat point. I've made 20, 30 casts on that between the 2 days. And my final pass through there, I caught a 19 on it, just kind of staging up there, waiting to probably move into those pockets to spawn. And catching that fish is really the one that won it for me. That was a 4-inch Cole. And then, like I said, later on at 1:30, I caught another 17. I got rid of another 15. And so at that point, it gave me above 90 inches. And at that point, for sure, I was like, okay, I really do have a chance here. There's 10 other anglers ahead of me, so anyone could do the same thing and beat me. But I like my chances, at least putting myself in the chance to win at that point. So
yeah. Are you paying attention to the standings? Are you looking at the leaderboard? What are you doing there?
Yeah, I do a little bit. For me, it gives me motivation to keep fishing hard. I know some people, they kind of get discouraged.
Sure.
I mean, it's still you versus the fish, regardless. So, like, I like to kind of at least see what other people are doing, but in the end, it's like, okay, what can I do for myself to put me in my best position against the fish? So,
yeah, did I cut out there?
Yeah, you're good. You're back now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the heck is going on. I guess it may be on my end here because I've had this happen the last couple times, but I don't know. It says I got good signal. But anyways, so yeah, you hear that from people. Some people say like, I don't want to see that because I'll get down and out. But I could see how you could use that for motivation. Towards the end of the day, so you caught that 19, and then did you have another upgrade then at that point?
Yeah.
Maybe one more or so?
Yeah, I had one more upgrade. I still had, I believe it was a 15 and a half that I still had as my smallest. So at that point I had like, I think 88 3/4 maybe for the day. And then at around 1:30, I caught that 17-incher. Actually, I caught that one on a crankbait. It was on one of my secondary points, and that's the area I was catching a whole bunch of fish the previous day, just those 16s and 17s. And
nice.
Caught it on a crankbait. Gave me a 1.5-inch Cole, bumped me up to 90 1/4, and I was pretty happy at that point. Break 90, I was like, oh yeah, this is a good day.
Did at any point before you got off the water, did you think to yourself, I just won this thing? Like, what are you thinking in your head?
I never thought I had it won. Like I said, like the links were so tight. There's some really good anglers in this field. My expectation going into the tournament, or what my thoughts were, was that I was going to take an average of low 90s each day to win at least. And so I know this lake is capable of putting in those mid to upper 90s, if I had to guess. And so I wasn't certain that I won it, but I felt like I put myself in a good position for what I had to do that. So after the tournament concluded, I called one of my buddies. Was like, "Man, I actually think I might have a chance to win this." And sure enough, I ended up winning it. But yeah, you just never know. Some people. I mean, I submitted my fish for most part late, but they did an hourly big bass, and so I submitted my 3 fish at 3 different hours before the leaderboard went off, because my assumption was everybody's going to start. Those sandbaggers are going to upload their fish after it went off. Yeah. So your chances of winning a big bass hourly pot at that time is not as great. And so I submitted my fish prior to that, just hoping I'd be able to win an extra $100. It didn't work out. No, it didn't work out, but it sounded like the right thing to do. So
yeah, because was there a bunch of them that came in after the standings were?
Yeah, that's my assumption. I'm sure Tyler Cole could tell you.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's gotta be a big motivating factor for the guys that are running the tournaments to do an hourly payout. Like, let's give these guys some incentive to actually like submit their fish, so we're not just getting hammered at the end.
Absolutely. So,
but that is a cool opportunity too to be able to. It's $100 an hour is what they do.
Yep, they do $100 an hour for whoever catches the biggest fish of that hour, and it's when you submit it, not when you capture your photo.
So. Sure. Okay. I like that. Yeah, and I'm sure that's why they come up with that.
Yeah, and I think it's already built into Turning X.
Okay.
Yeah, that way, so it makes it a little bit easier. Yep. So.
Yeah, that works.
So if you were to click the X and go to close out the modal and scroll up. And there'll be on top right, keep going. There we go, daily big fish. It's in a black button. It doesn't look like a button. Yep. So they can use this and be like, all right.
2050, 21, 17 and 3/4, 19 and 3/4, 19 and a half, 20 and a quarter, 19, 19 and a half, 18 and a quarter, 20 and a quarter, 20 and a quarter. God dang, 20 and a half, 19 and 3/4. So this is between, and then we're on day 2 here, 20, 19. That is just wild, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, that tool makes it a little easier for them to do that. So
that is a lot of big fish there, and that's not even a small fraction of the ones that were caught.
Yep.
That's wild. Heck yeah. What so you've been to 2 of these now, and I know they go all out on this event. So can you tell us about some of maybe the cool things that they have going on for like the award ceremony, or the atmosphere? Like what makes this event such a cool experience besides the great fishing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say probably the biggest draw for it is that kind of club versus club competition. You don't really have that in your national trails. So you fish with these guys, your local guys, all the time, and fishing against them. So it's a really neat opportunity to team up and see if you can beat out the other ones and claim that club trophy. So that's definitely one piece of it. And then the award ceremony, they do a great job. They try to make it interesting. They do a trash fish pod as well. So if when you sign up, you can pay $10 for the trash fish, and whoever has the largest trash fish of the day, I don't remember how much they win.
I think it was a couple $100 or something.
Yeah, a few hundred. And then the biggest of the entire tournament it was over $1,000, if I recall, maybe. So it just it just adds some more fun to it. Because like oftentimes you're out there, you'll catch one of those big carps or drums or whatever. You're just like, man, it'd be cool if we could submit this, and this chance you can and win some money. So they add some different flavors to the tournament to allow people to win some money, or at least get close to winning their money back. So
and they give away some pretty big prizes too, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So I ended up winning. Yep. Yeah, they did some Costa sunglasses. I think $300 gift cards or certificates for that. They gave away a big lithium battery. I won a reel by
Nice.
13 Fishing. So yeah, they gave away a lot of prizes or raffle prizes. So yeah, they do it right there. They do a good job.
That's awesome. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, congrats on the win, and definitely appreciate you breaking it down for us. What is the plan for the rest of the year for you as far as tournaments go?
Yeah. For most part, I'll probably be fishing some of the local trails. I'll be, when I say local trails, our local natural state kayak anglers group. And we have a handful more tournaments left. So I'm going to hopefully get in some of those. I still have one more team trail event from a bass boat. That one's in June. So I'll be kind of done with them at that point. But yeah, for the most part, I'll just be doing some of the local trails and just going fishing.
Heck yeah, man. Well, it sounds like that approach works well for you. So I would say just stick with just going fishing. And I would say also, if you don't win another tournament throughout the end of this year, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. I'm satisfied with what I've done so far. So
This will be the biggest one of the year, I'm assuming, unless
absolutely.
I mean, even some of those national. I mean, you go fish a Hobie BOS or something, and you may not win 10 grand for first place. I know some of those are quite a bit less.
It depends on the turnout. I believe they averaged a little over 10K for the winner on those. But yeah, still good payout, but those are just harder to get to. I typically try to stay, closer to my neck of the woods. It's kind of hard to branch out from work and all that to go compete in those national events.
What was that drive for you?
That was 3.5 hours. So wasn't
Not
terrible.
bad at all.
Yeah. So I got up at like 3 a.m. and went up there prior to pre-fishing. So, but yeah, it's only 3.5 hours. So it wasn't too bad.
You drove up the morning of the event?
The morning of, pre-fishing. So I showed up on Wednesday. Friday was the first day of tournament. So.
Sure. Okay. Heck yeah. No, that's not bad at all. And I think a lot of people who competed are probably under 6 hours, you know, and
they had people from Colorado. I'm sure that's a good drive.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's some people that are even further, but yeah.
Yeah. I think you probably had, you see some of those KS events up in like Michigan. I think they have like St. Clair. They probably had a couple guys from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's some Wisconsin guys. Yeah.
So yeah, there's some people traveling around, but Minnesota guys, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so but they're like if you're a Missouri guy or an Arkansas guy, Kansas, I mean all the Iowa, I mean that's probably making up a majority of the field, just those few surrounding states, and just to see that kind of a turnout, that is really cool. It's a really cool opportunity for people to go fish and win some big prizes and have a big turnout and rep their local club.
Yeah, absolutely. And catch a lot of fish. They were biting.
Yeah, you said 50 on the first. Did you say?
Yeah, I caught 50, but yeah, and just in general, like
it's wild.
What was it, like 1,600 fish were caught or something like that? So or submitted.
Submitted. Yeah.
So
there's
more than that were caught too. So
1,900 were submitted.
1,900, submitted.
Almost 2,000.
Yeah.
Just barely shy of 2,000 fish. That's wild.
Yep. So
I'm gonna have to make it. I'm gonna have to make a trip, and definitely gonna have to make a point to at least steal one of those director spots. Cause
absolutely.
Might have some good juju there.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool, man. Well, did you have anything else that you wanted to maybe mention, or anybody you wanted to shout out, or anything like that?
No, I mean, I'll give a shout out to my wife allowing me to go up there and fish. My family. So my dad and my uncles, we all fish a lot together. That's kind of where I've learned to fish for the most part, is going with them. And then also just shout out to my whole local club, the Natural State Kayak Anglers. We have a solid group of anglers. I feel like you can put us anywhere we can show out. But I hung out with 10 of them at an Airbnb. We had a good time, cooked some good food, and just kind of hung out and talked fishing 24/7. So it was a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. Sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my Kansas guys that are watching, we need to make it happen next year. We need to do the Airbnb thing and make a whole experience out of it.
Yeah,
maybe
you
that
absolutely
was
should. It's a lot of fun.
maybe that was part of the success you guys had. Just everybody kind of
We definitely you shared part of the information with them. Like you may not give everything, but I would say you may share 80% of what you're doing, and so you're allowed to do that off the water before the tournament. So that's what we did. A lot of the guys were kind of fishing similar things, just in different parts of the lake, and I was kind of the only one doing something just slightly different than everyone else. But
yeah, so nobody hopped in on your spot. Well, after day one, they might not have, they saw you were up there, but man, that 90-inch day sealed the deal.
Yeah, we had a lot of other guys that are same spot as I was after day one, around that 84-inch mark. So the other stuff was working too. So
yep, heck yeah, man. All right, well, I want to thank you for coming on here, and we'll be following you for the rest of the year. Hopefully you can get an AOI spot, but if not, we did confirm tonight you got one.
I'm in.
So you're fishing the Classic next year.
I'll be there next year.
So, all right, man. Well, you have a good one, and we'll see you around.
Awesome. Thank you, John. See you, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Thanks.
All right, guys. That was a wrap. Episode number 15, season 2. Cole Sikes, All-American Kayak Classic on Truman Lake. I've said it a few times here, and I probably said it when we talked to, last year's winner. This is something that I think that the kayak fishing world needs. I think this is something that the Midwest guys really ought to support. And seeing that we had 200 guys out there on the water is great. But I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna make sure I'm there next year, and I would really love to see the Kansas kayak anglers be represented with the full squad out there. So if you guys are in the Midwest area, and that kind of stretches through a big part of the country. We have a bunch of people, maybe not, like Oklahoma, those guys, that's not a long trip, Louisiana, like some of those states that are close enough. This is a really awesome opportunity for you to get out there, potentially fish a new body of water. And, talking to Cole, this is not his home lake. This is not something that he had a whole lot of confidence going into practice or probably even into the tournament. But dude obviously is a hammer. And if you talk to any of the local guys in his crew, I'm sure they'll tell you the same. But yeah, the whole idea of having these people on this show is to hear kind of their mindset, hear how they tackle these situations that we're all presented with. And I think I've talked about this here recently, but I did mention it tonight. Just use those little key subtleties that you find on the water. And he saw something on day one that he wanted to implement on day two, something totally new. And he explored that. He gave that, an opportunity to, prove itself or not. And it ended up working out. So, and he just put his head down and he grinded. As you heard him, he had a 4-hour lull, right? And so a lot of people could really get shaken up in that situation. They may go try to do something completely different. That can mess with you mentally. So, there's definitely some mental aspects here, and time on the water is probably the biggest thing that you could do to prepare yourself for that situation. So yeah, that's why we're here right now listening to this podcast, because we're not able to spend this very moment on the water. So use the information that we've got given to us from these anglers, and get out there, spend as much time on the water as you can. And just pay attention while you're out there. Take those earbuds out and listen to what nature has to tell you while you're out there on the water. So, but I do want to thank Cole for coming on. I want to shout out to the All-American Kayak Series. Those guys are doing a really great thing for the community, a great thing for the sport, and a great thing for the region. So let's do our best to support them. And I'm kind of talking to myself right now. I'm kind of bummed that I haven't made it out there to that event. But anyways, so yeah, guys, if you didn't make it out there this year, do what you can to earn that spot in the club, whether that's an AOY spot, a sportsman, or a director. You've got a few opportunities to make that happen. And if your club is not affiliated with the All-American Kayak Series, holler at one of your directors and see if you guys can't get that taken care of. That way you guys can go represent for the club on the next one. So, guys, I want to thank you for all tuning in. Again, I do want to mention we just hit 2,500 subscribers here in the next couple days. We're going to hit 2,600. We're on a tear right now, and I think what we're going to end up doing is doing a big giveaway for 3,000 subscribers just around the corner. But we're going to do a giveaway based on Behind the Reel merch. So I did go ahead and put that link in the description of the YouTube video. It's not going to be over there on Facebook, but it'll be in the YouTube video. And if you want to go support the podcast, support the channel, we do a lot of other stuff here too. We've got the podcast, which is a really cool learning experience, but we're also teaching you guys how to use your marine electronics. And we do a lot of information based stuff as it pertains to marine electronics as well. So and we'll do some on the water stuff. So if you guys want to watch me get my butt kicked out there and occasionally catch a big fish, hit that subscribe button. I do want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. If you guys are watching this after the fact, thank you as well. And I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next one.